Oh, I love to hear it. My name is David. I'm one of the care specialists right here at Historic Waggaforth Bowl. And I'm here to tell you that the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance is committed to saving species worldwide by uniting our expertise in animal care and conservation science with our dedication to inspiring a passion for nature. We integrate wildlife health, care, science, and education to develop sustainable conservation solutions. Our conservation efforts are now focused in 8 conservation hubs all across the world. These are geographic regions where we think we can make the greatest impact. Those hubs are the Pacific Islands, Southwest, Amazonia, Oceans, African Forest, Savannah, Asia, and the Australian forest.
Get with the program, right?
Conservation starts with the connection that we make with people and wildlife every single day. But before we get started, I have to ask, are we all ready to meet some wildlife?
Yeah!
All right, we're going to start with our One Health approach to saving species worldwide because people, the environment, and wildlife are all interconnected. Wildlife can only thrive when all life thrives. That's the core of our mission and the thread that runs through all of our conservation efforts. And no species better represents this than the canine. Canines have been helping people throughout time, maybe serving in the military, being part of the police force, or helping in our conservation efforts. And they do this by using their superpower, which is their super sniffer. And today we're going to demonstrate just how amazing their sense of smell is. We've hidden a scented item somewhere out here for our super sniffer to find. Please make some noise for our super sniffer, Elvis. There he is.
There's a handsome boy.
That nose of his to find a scented item. We change the location every single day. I don't even know where it is today.
Hurry up, Marley.
It's a surprise for me as well, but we have never won this game. Elvis wins every single day. Let's see. Is he onto it? He's using that nose. And he found it. Elvis found his stuffed koala, which is a great representation as to some of the canines that we have in those conservation hubs. We have very special dogs out in the Australian outback who were very helpful during the 2019 and 2020 fires that devastated the Australian outback. These canines were specifically trained to sniff out koalas so that we can help protect that species. We also have canines right here in our own backyard, the Southwest Conservation Hub, who were very helpful during the starting phases of our project for the endangered mountain yellow-legged frog. These frog dogs could literally go out and sniff out where these frogs were so that we can help work with that species. And we have canines out in Africa who are able to sniff out poachers so that we can protect the many species that we're working with down there. Now, Elvis here may not be out in the field, but he does have a very important job here at Waggaforth Bowl. He is paired with our South African cheetah. And the only time we have to separate those two is when she is getting a nice big meal or a bone because he would steal it from her. So we have to make sure she gets all of her food. Elvis was in a program for Guide Dogs of America. We don't like to say that he failed the program, but you can see where he's working now. But that's okay because we needed a partner right at the same time he decided to try a new career. Well, he's gonna do one last big run. And once again, that was our awesome super sniffer, Elvis. All right, sticking with that One Health approach to saving species worldwide, we have a top predator who's gonna come out next.
Oh, yeah.
And she's also super adorable. Please welcome out our 26-year-old. We have Einstein, our Eurasian eagle owl.
With Tony.
And yes, she is a top predator if you're a mouse, of course. She's a predator of the sky. They are very important with helping with rodent control. It's been said if we don't have owls, we'd be up to our knees in mice. So thank you, owls. Now, as she comes a little bit closer, I'll go ahead and I'll point out some of the adaptations that make her an amazing
She spends more time
predator.
there than here.
Now, she is with her care specialist, Tony, and Tony is wearing a very thick leather glove to help protect her hand for a couple different reasons. One of which is those talons are super duper sharp, and the second is the amount of pressure that Einstein is able to exert from those feet.
She'll come closer.
It's been said that she would be able to pop a car tire. That's how much pressure is going on right there. So that is a very thick leather glove to help protect us. Now, Einstein has been with us her entire life. We got her when she was a gray little foosball. So she might be a little bit noisy when she's out here. She likes to greet us every single day.
Being her dad.
We come in, we get nice little hoots, and sometimes we get some cute little like purr sounds from her. It's pretty cute. Now, Einstein also has really, really big eyes. That is a great adaptation of the owl. They have amazing eyesight. If we were to put Einstein on one end of a football field and a newspaper on the other, she would be able to read the fine print day or night. That's how good those eyeballs are. And we're actually looking at the smallest part of the eyeball. They're kind of shaped like an old school light bulb. So we are seeing the twisted part.
How's it going?
The bulb part is inside their head, which doesn't leave a lot of space for a I didn't want
Be nice, David.
Now that doesn't matter though, because they are well adapted for what they do, and that is hunting.
Is she your favorite?
If you are able to see those feathers close up,
You love her?
You can see another adaptation that the owl has, and that is silent flight. Her feathers kind of look like they're frayed. I like to say they look like they have split ends on them, but they're serrated, which allows for the air to flow through them while they're flying. So literally you cannot hear when they're coming. Pretty amazing. And finally, they also have really, really good hearing. Those two little floofs on the top of her head, those aren't her ears. She's part of the great horned owl family. That's why we have those there. She has asymmetric ears. So one about up here and one about down here. So very, very different than us. But that helps so that they can triangulate sound or literally pinpoint where their prey items might be. It's been said that an owl is able to hear a mouse's heartbeat 1 foot under snow. So that's how great that hearing is. Well, she did an absolutely amazing time out here. Once again, that was Einstein, our Eurasian eagle owl. Now, one way you can help owls is by looking at the different kinds of pesticides or rodenticides that you use, because unfortunately we lose a lot of different owl species due to secondhand poisoning. They prey on a nice slow mouse because it's already been poisoned, and then in turn they get poisoned. Also, if you have room at your house, you can build an owl box, and maybe they'll come on in and you'll have yourself a free exterminator. Now I'm gonna hand things on over to our next care specialist. She's gonna go ahead and introduce us to our next couple of ambassadors. Here's Raina.
All right, let's give it up for David one more time, everybody. Yay, David. All right.
Dakota.
We're going to be heading on over to our Amazonia Conservation Hub, and I'm trying to talk really fast. It's coming out. But
Not really
this is Tornero, our two-toed Linnaeus sloth, and he is moving at rapid
Holy
speed
buckets.
today. And I will do a little bit of introductions here. So Tornero was born
He was like,
here
"No,
at
thanks."
the San Diego Zoo about 7 years ago to his mother Zena and his father Brad Pitt, who gets his hair or his name from his hair color, which is extremely blonde, just like Tornero here. He is a two-toed Linnaeus sloth.
He is
like I
scooting.
mentioned
He must have
earlier,
pooped
but you
today.
might notice as he comes up nice and up close to you all that he does have 3 toes on his back feet. This is something that all sloths have. They all have 3 toes on their back feet, but on his front
And that's Ellie.
limbs, his front feet, he has 2 toes. So that's where he gets that name from. Sloths are very, very interesting creatures. So they're known for being upside down. They do everything upside down. They eat upside down, they sleep upside down, they give birth upside down, and they've been known to pass away upside down as well. They're also known for being extremely slow. This is not because they're lazy, but because of what they eat. They're going to be predominantly eating things like leaves and twigs, which don't have much nutrients in them or much calories. So they have to utilize as many calories as they can with a very slow metabolism. Because their metabolism is so slow, they actually only go to the bathroom every 7 to 10 days. And this is the only time that they are going to be coming down from the canopy. So spending about 98% of their time up in the highest part of the tree. They will actually sleep for about 18 hours a day, and sleeping for the majority of the day really does allow them to preserve their energy. They have very interesting physiological adaptations as well. You might
Spends
notice
more
that
time there
his
than here.
hair parts down the middle of his belly and then falls down the sides. This is very advantageous when you live in areas of the rainforest. So there's going to be a lot of precipitation, a lot of water, and it will work its way down off of his body. He has very specialized hair with lots of little divots in it that allow for algae to grow, and that is how they are going to camouflage themselves by having a green color to them. So algae is going to grow on that hair.
Dang, that was a
and
quick
become
one.
A green hue that will allow them to hide from predators. Their main predators out in their native habitat are going to be things like harpy eagles and jaguars. So that's how they're going to defend themselves, because they can't move very fast. They are going to be sleeping for a long, long time, so they are going to be trying to hide. If they do come into contact with a predator, they're going to try and evade that predator by choosing a tree that is over water. So they're going to actually let go of the tree and then fall into the water, because believe it or not, they are faster swimmers than they are movers on the ground. So they are pretty quick swimmers, so they will then float to a different tree or swim to a different tree to evade a predator, which is pretty interesting. But let's give it up for Tornero. He zoomed around. We might be seeing him back again. We'll see. But let's give it up for him. He did a great job. All right. So our next little friend is going to be coming out here probably also pretty quickly. Everyone's getting real excited this morning. But this is one of our newest ambassadors here at
Sage.
North Bowl. New to the bowl and new to the world. This is Dakota, and he is a North American porcupine.
He's not the newest.
So being that he is a North American porcupine, he has very special quills. So porcupines are covered head to toe in quills. North American porcupines have barbs at the end of their quills that allow them to work their way into skin at about 1 millimeter per minute. So if you ever do come into contact with a porcupine, or if your dog ever gets quilled, you want to make sure they get those quills out as fast as possible. They are a rodent, so they have ever-growing teeth, and you might notice in the B-roll up there that's from when he was a teeny tiny baby.
More time up there
those very
than here.
orange teeth. They are coated in a covering of iron that allows them to be nice and strong to work their way through things like wood and bark. This is going to allow them to continually eat all day long, which is very important for animals that are getting all of their nutrients from the inner membrane of a piece of wood, which is called the cambium.
And David's bringing out Justine Beaver.
And then also this little friend down here that just joined us as well, the star of the show. This is Justine Beaver, everybody. She might sing and dance in a little bit if you hang out. But she is also a rodent, so we're doing double rodent madness today. Get excited.
More time up there than here.
Spoke too soon. But yes, so rodents are very important for our ecosystems. Specifically, beavers are what's known as a keystone species. Has anyone heard of this term before? So they are going to be holding the ecosystem together. And in the case of the beaver, they are kind of ecosystem engineers. So think the Bob the Builder of the natural world. They're going to be creating ecosystems by creating, what do beavers make, everyone?
Right there.
Dams, exactly. So they're going to be making dams to cause a running water stream to turn into a still water pond. This will allow for things like different little underwater plants to grow, which will create an ecosystem for smaller insects and smaller animals to live in, so that there can be a lot of biodiversity within an ecosystem, which is very important.
Tornero may come back out.
Are the largest rodent in North America. Does anyone know what the largest rodent in the world is? Capybara, yes. Everyone's so smart today. But beavers are very well adapted for living in the water. So they've got those webbed teeth, those webbed feet, and that very interesting tail that allows them to propel themselves through the water pretty quickly. We might see her swim here in a little bit. They also have that very important, very interesting little coat that they have going on that keeps them nice and cozy in the water. And makes them very streamlined as well. They do have special goggles that are on their eyelids as well, so they can see under the water. They are able to close their nose and their ears under the water as well to allow for water to not enter, so they can stay under there for about 15 minutes, which is pretty impressive. But I will say sloths can hold their breath for about 40 minutes, so maybe even cooler. But this little guy that I'm feeding right here, Dakota, he is specially adapted for living in the trees. So he is an arboreal rodent who is going to be spending a lot of time up in the trees. So he's got that special little tail, a little bit different than the beaver tail, that actually works kind of like a fifth little leg to help him climb up trees. And he can stay up there for a long, long time. While beavers live in family groups, they will create a little den within their dam that they will live in that has different rooms in it. So like a little kitchen, a little bedroom, a little place to store their trash. That's how they're going to be living, and they live in their family groups as well. While porcupines are predominantly solitary. I'll tell you a little bit about their story. So Justine Beaver here is about 15 years old. So she is an older beaver, and she does love to come out here and swim in the boat. It's probably her favorite thing to do. There she goes. And then Dakota here is going to be turning 2 this month, very exciting, and he does have a very interesting story as well. So he is actually the first ever C-section baby performed on a North American porcupine. So his mom, she lives over at our children's zoo, our Base Camp Explorers area, and his dad came on a breeding loan from Texas. Of course, everything is bigger in Texas, and that has to do with porcupines as well, apparently. And so he got a little bit too big for his mom's tummy. Porcupines are born with all of their quills, but they aren't hardened until they are oxidized, so they reach air. And because during labor he was taking a little bit of extra time, his quills started to oxidize while in labor. So his mom needed some extra help. And because of that, our vet team did something never before done, which of course was a C-section on a North American porcupine. And mom and baby are still doing great, of course, because she had to heal. His mom needed a little bit of time alone, and she didn't really want anything to do with Dakota. So we have an amazing NACU team here that stepped in to bottle feed him around the clock. And he is also the first ever North American porcupine raised from day one. So we weren't exactly sure what to feed him, what he needed from us. And so all of this information on the C-section and all of the information gathered while he was a baby is now written down so we can help out orphan porcupines all around the globe. So he's kind of a big deal here. And I think they might be hanging out, so let's just give it up for our friends that came out here today. Justine, Beaver, Dakota, Tornero. We got all of the trifecta of amazing animals, all with ever-growing teeth. Pretty exciting. But the San Diego Zoo here is creating a world where all life thrives, and never has this been more important. As first responders in the field, we are there applying a century's worth of first-hand knowledge to global conservation challenges. We collaborate, innovate, and inspire, we hope to anyway, to help people and wildlife thrive together for a healthy planet. Conservation, of course, is at the heart of everything that we do here, but we really cannot do it alone. We need dedicated allies like all of you. So you can join the San Diego Zoo by, of course, becoming a member, helping to support some of our amazing conservation work worldwide, or even by volunteering your time and knowledge here. On behalf of all of our wildlife and staff, we would really love to have you, because your support does really make a world of a difference, not only for our wildlife here at Webber Bowl and throughout the zoo, but of course for wildlife and communities all over the globe. So we really thank you all for coming out today and being allies for wildlife. I hope you learned something that inspired you to take action today in your own lives, and I hope you have a great rest of your day here at the world famous San Diego Zoo. Bye everybody.
Thank you. San Diego Zoo.